Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about all the players that made the Washington football team's practice squad, including wide receiver Antonio Gandy-Golden, safety Jeremy Reaves, and running back Peyton Barber. So all of that and more in today's video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Let's get right into the video. Also guys, before we start, I want to thank you guys for helping me hit 6,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate every single one of you that subscribe. Next milestone is 7,000 subscribers, so let's try to get there soon. So let's get started. So the Washington football team put out their 15-man practice squad. There is still one spot left on that practice squad, and here are the players. I'll read them out, but you guys can see them on the list. Not a single player that the Washington football team released or cut yesterday, got claimed by another team. So the players that they're keeping: Peyton Barber, Bo Benschwal, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, William Bradley King, AGG, Keith Ismail, Danny Johnson, Jordan K, Wes Martin, Jared Norris, Jeremy Reaves, Bunmi Rotimi, David Steinmetz, John Toth, Daniel Wise, and Gabe Wright. So, really they got to keep a lot of the key players that they ended up releasing yesterday. Jimmy Moreland, they're not keeping him. He went unclaimed, so he goes to their IR. I'm not sure how that works, if other teams can still try to claim him. But, I'm really happy with their practice squad so far. They didn't sign anyone. A lot of these teams didn't sign that many players. There were a few teams that did sign a lot of players like the Giants and others, but Washington, for the second year in a row, did not sign any players, at least, claim any players on the waiver wire. That's part of the reason why, no one claimed Washington's players, because less teams are claiming players, at least after the first day. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because less preseason games, but that it is what it is. So we'll go through the main players and then go through some of the other guys as well. So AGG is back to the practice squad. No team claimed him. I thought there was a solid chance that he would get claimed by someone, but no one claimed him, and that's good news. At least for now, we get to develop him on the practice squad. But again, keep in mind, anytime throughout the season Washington can, or another team can poach him. I think Washington can protect a couple players a week. I'm not sure if there's a rule where you can't, if you can protect the same player throughout the season. We will see, but I'm happy he's back on the practice squad, and maybe eventually he'll work his way up to the active roster. If there are some injuries, though, they have 7 receivers on the roster, which I don't like. I don't like that they kept both DeAndre Carter and Dax Milne. I wish it was just Dax Milne, but it is what it is, and we'll see if DeAndre Carter makes it through, because they're going to definitely sign some more players, and they're going to have to make roster moves to make room for those players. But I'm happy AGG is back on the practice squad. So the next notable name on the Washington football team's practice squad is safety Jeremy Reaves, and I thought this was pretty likely to happen. I thought there was a small chance that he would get claimed by another team, and I'm happy he's back on the practice squad. It's unfortunate for him, because he's always, every single year basically of his career, I think he's been on Washington's practice squad, although he did get called up last year, at the midway point of this season. But it's another situation. Maybe if they put Derek Forrest on IR, they can bring him up, or if there's other injuries, DeShazier Everett is a little injury prone, so maybe Jeremy Reaves at some point will get called up. We'll see. He's a good player. He's good on special teams, and is a solid free safety. They just had other players, Bobby McCain, Cameron Curl, and Landon Collins were locks, and then after that, they gave preference to their 5th-round pick, who, probably would have gotten claimed because he was a high draft pick, and other teams, probably would have claimed him. So, I'm happy that Jeremy Reaves is back, though. Ron Rivera really likes him, and really likes how he fought his way up from the practice squad to the active roster last year. Let's see if Jeremy Reaves can do the same thing, in the next few weeks and, the start of the season. So the next guy, Peyton Barber, back to the practice squad. I definitely thought Peyton Barber was going to go unclaimed. I thought, if Washington a similar player, if they would have released someone like Ricky Seals-Jones, who just like Peyton Barber is a veteran in this league, I think they would have went unclaimed and they could have gotten Ricky Seals-Jones back to the practice squad. But I understand they didn't want to take that risk, and they have Ricky Seals-Jones as their fourth tight end. But Peyton Barber on the practice squad, they get to call up 2 players a week to be on their 55-man roster on Sunday. It goes up from 53 to 55 on Sunday. Peyton Barber definitely could be one of those guys, and maybe they call up an offensive lineman. I like Peyton Barber's okay, but I really would rather him not be active over Jarrett Patterson on Sundays, because if they call him up, he's likely going to be active, and I just don't really see that. I don't like that, just because I feel like Jarrett Patterson is already a solid pass protector, a solid pass blocker, and or for a running back at least, can pick up some blitzes, and I just don't really think that Peyton Barber adds that much. Yes, he's a good short yardage back, but I think with time, Antonio Gibson will be able to do that. And yes, if Antonio Gibson gets injured, then yes, you can bring Peyton Barber back onto the roster and have Jarrett Patterson, Peyton Barber, and J.D. McKissic. But at this point, I hope it's just him being on the practice squad for insurance if they do need him, but I suspect that is not the case, and I think they'll definitely try to call him up, and we'll see. Maybe they'll make some room for him on the 53-man roster after putting some guys on IR. So let's talk about some other guys. The offensive lineman Bo, again can't pronounce his name, but he was expected to be on the practice squad, started for them last week in that Ravens game. I'm happy William Bradley King is back. Again, he's another guy that could get poached from another team. He was a draft pick, and a lot of people projected him to be like a 5th, 6th round pick, and Washington drafted him in the 7th. So maybe there are some teams that would, maybe if a defensive lineman goes down during the season, maybe there's teams that would try to claim him. But I'm happy he's back. He had a good start of training camp, had a couple of good preseason games. I actually had him making the roster over Shakatoni, but the coaching staff saw something else. And one thing I like is Washington picked the right players to release because they didn't get claimed, and they're able to put these guys on the practice squad. So I like that. Keith Ismail went unclaimed. Kind of very similar situation to Ross Pierschbaker from last year, where he was a 4th round pick from the year before. Keith Ismail is a 5th round pick, and he didn't make the roster. They put him on the practice squad. Eventually, Ross Pierschbaker, he got claimed, but we'll see with Keith Ismail. I know they like him, but they have Tyler Larson on the roster, and they just didn't have room for 10 offensive linemen. Danny Johnson made the team. I like that. He's definitely a better corner at the moment than Troy Apke, and he can be a kick returner, but he's a guy that if someone like Troy Apke goes down, or another guy, Darryl Roberts, they can bring him up because he can play special teams and maybe can play some defensive snaps for them. Jordan Kay is back, to the practice squad. He's a, special teams guy. Same thing with Jared Norris. Those guys will, those two are candidates for being called up on game day. Wes Martin back on the practice squad. I don't hate it because he does have a little bit of potential. Was not good at all last year, but I really liked him in his rookie year, so maybe he can turn a corner. Washington, the coaching staff said they really like how he progressed this year, so who knows? Maybe he can eventually turn a corner, but at the moment, he's on the practice squad, and maybe if there's an injury, they can, call him up. The rest, not really any surprises. David Steinmetz on the practice squad. He was on the practice squad really throughout the whole year last year. Got called up a few times. Let's see, they kept, I'm trying to count, I think they kept 5 defensive linemen or 4 defensive linemen in Gabe Wright, Daniel Wise, Rutimi, and William Bradley King, and they kept, I think, 5 offensive linemen. Bo B, they kept David Steinmetz and Wes Martin and Keith Ismail. So that's 4. I'm probably missing some guys, but and John Toth. So I think that is 5. So they wanted to stack a bunch of offensive and defensive linemen here, just so that they have some depth. You don't want these guys playing, but if there are some injuries, they have guys that know the system that can play. No one got, they didn't sign any quarterback to the practice squad. Steven Montez got claimed by the Lions to their practice squad. Interesting right there. And then Will Grier, who the Panthers drafted in 2019, I believe, under Ron Rivera and Marty Herney and Scott Turner as well. He got claimed by the Cowboys, I believe. So that is off the table. That was a candidate right there. But Washington, I guess, didn't want to end up signing him, or I think the Cowboys were ahead of them on the waiver wire. So I think that is it for today's video. I will have an update on any players they sign or if they put anyone on IR and make some roster moves. And tomorrow, I likely will have a video out on talking about a player that I think the Washington football team needs to sign. If you guys can guess that player, comment him down below in the comments section. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.